Hello everyone, I am Sudha, Assistant Professor, Department of Biotechnology, St.Josephs College of Arts and Science for Women, Hosur. Today we are going to see about pulmonary ventilation. What is pulmonary ventilation? Pulmonary ventilation is commonly referred to as breathing. It is the process of air flowing into the lungs during inspiration, that is inhalation, and out of the lungs during expiration, that is exhalation. Air flows because of pressure differences between the atmosphere and the gases inside the lungs. Alveolar ventilation is the exchange of gas between the alveoli and the external environment. It is the process by which oxygen is brought into the lungs from the atmosphere and by which the carbon dioxide carried into the lungs in the mixed venous blood is expelled from the body. Anatomy of the lungs. Pulmonary ventilation, commonly known as breathing, is the process of moving air into and out of the lungs. These are pharynx, vocal cords, nasal cavity, tongue, esophagus, larynx, trachea, right lung, right branches, and diaphragm. Anatomy of the lungs. Air enters the respiratory system through the mouth and the nasal cavity, passing through the pharynx, then enters into the larynx, where sounds are produced for speech, and finally the trachea, which enters the chest cavity. These passages, that is, the nasal cavity in the particular, are lined with cilia, that is, tiny hair-like structures that act as a filter, blocking germs from entering the respiratory system as well as warming and moistening the air. At the top of the esophagus is a plate of flexible elastic cartilage called the epiglottis, which closes over the larynx as we swallow food to ensure the food travels to the stomach and not into the lungs. In the chest cavity, the trachea splits into smaller tubes called the left and right branchi. The further divided into secondary branchi, which leads directly into the lungs, where they divided into many smaller tubes called branchioles. The branchioles finally connect to tiny structure called alveoli, where gas exchange occurs, as can be seen in the adjustment diagram. This lungs contains right lobes, right branchi, left branchi, secondary branchi, alveoli, branchioles, and diaphragm. Respiratory muscles and their roles in respiration. When we breathe in, air flows into the lungs down what is known as the pressure gradient from an area of high pressure to an area of low pressure. The pressure gradient within the lungs is controlled by a muscle called the diaphragm. When contracted, the diaphragm flattens and pushes downwards, resulting in the enlargement of chest cavity, that is, area with the lungs sit, and a decrease of pressure in the lungs. This reduction in pressure causes air to be sucked into the lungs and we breathe in as seen in the following image. Breathing in, chest expands, ribs, diaphragm contract. Breathing out, chest contract, lungs, diaphragm relaxes. Respiratory muscles and their roles in respiration. As we breathe out, the opposite happens as the diaphragm relaxes and pushes upwards, as seen in the right image above. This reduces the size of the chest cavity, making the pressure within the lungs higher and results in their being exhaled. In turn, the pressure gradient within the body returns to its original state and the process starts again. During exercise, when inspiration increases, the external intercostal muscles are recruited to with the help increase in ventilation rate. They work to lift the ribs up and upwards, further increasing the chest cavity and enabling more air to be inspired, as seen on the image below. Respiratory muscles and their roles in respiration. Sternocleidomastoids, scalenus, external intercostal, internal intercostal, diaphragm, abdominal muscles, muscles of inspiration, muscles of expiration. Respiratory muscles and their roles in respiration. Expiration is generally a passive process that does not require muscle contraction. As the muscles of inspiration relax and return to their resting positions, air is forced out of the lungs as the pressure with them increases. However, when needed, active or passive inspiration can be completed by voluntary contraction of the abdominals and internal intercostal muscles, as seen in the above image. They further reduces the volume within the chest cavity and more air is exhaled. The following table provides a useful summary of pulmonary ventilation or breathing. Inspiration, diaphragm contract pushing downward. Expiration, diaphragm relaxes pushing upward. Inspiration, lungs expand as pressure inside chest decreases. Air drawn in throat, nose and mouth. Expiration, lungs made smaller and more pressurized by relaxing diaphragm. Air passes out through the nose and mouth. Thank you.